Hi, it's Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky. I'm back with my pans and plans. Well, we had a really successful week last week, especially on Friday, which took us a long time, but sometime after midnight, we passed the infrastructure, the bipartisan infrastructure bill, the most historic investment in our physical infrastructure in the history of our country. The president put out a pretty detailed notice about it, and one of the things he said, I love this quote, it is a blue-collar blueprint for rebuilding America. A blue-collar blueprint for rebuilding America. So he also talked about what's in it. First of all, millions of good jobs, not just jobs, but good jobs, union jobs will be created. He talked about rail and roads and bridges and public transportation. We're going to have ports and airports that are updated. We have solar power and wind power and electric vehicles. We'll have for the first time a national network of charging stations for these electric vehicles. We'll have high-speed internet throughout the country, which is huge, but not only for rural areas, but also for some urban areas where lots of our families are not connected. We will have cleaning up of brownfields and Superfund sites, and we'll be able to replace lead water pipes, which affect most of the communities that I represent. So this is really an incredible big deal. I wanted to tell you a few of the provisions that I was able to get into the legislation. I work closely with groups like Moms Against Drunk Driving, and working with these advocates, we were able to get this actually into law now. One of the most important things is that all new cars will now have to have passive technologies. That is, the driver doesn't have to be involved. That will be able to avoid the thousands of deaths that we see on the highway, including collision warnings, automatic emergency braking, and lane departure warnings. We are very optimistic about that. The other thing that's in the bill is, did you know that for the last 50 years, cars have been manufactured with seat backs that actually tend to crush children tragically in automobile accidents. And so my legislation would require a new redesigning. And finally, we would see that hood and bumper standards would have to be updated to protect bicyclists and pedestrians. These are predicted to be able to save as many as 20,000 lives on the highway. A good start. The other really great thing that happened on Friday is that now we know that in the House of Representatives, we will pass the Build Back Better Reconciliation Act. Now it's going to take a couple of steps. So on Friday, we voted for the rule, but we got an actual written guarantee from enough of the people in our Democratic caucus who still had questions about the bill, in writing, saying that they will vote for the Build Back Better bill on the week of November 15th. So not very many days from now. In fact, we're going to be off next week. We'll be back on the week of the 15th and get it done. Now, this legislation is even bigger as is than we had predicted, which was $1.75 trillion, right? But at this point, it's a $2.1 trillion bill, because added to it in the House bill is lowering the cost of prescription drugs. We also have a piece on immigration. I'll get to that in a minute. And paid leave for families. So we added some things. Let me tell you about the immigration piece. On immigration, though we couldn't, because of Senate opposition, get a path to citizenship. What we were able to get what is called parole in place, meaning no deportations with benefits. In other words, people who have been living and working in the United States of America without any protection from being at any time deported from this country now will have the assurance that they will not be deported. They will have the ability to work. They will be able to get the food benefits. They'll be able to get the child tax credit, and many of the benefits that are available right now in our country. So this is a big deal. And in fact, I know that we had members of our Hispanic caucus check with constituents in their district on how they felt about this. And they said, we'll take it. We want to know that we are not afraid when the doorbell rings that we're going to be taken away, separated from our family, as we've seen happen in our country. So this is a big step forward. But I want you to know that I am not going to stop fighting to the point that we have comprehensive immigration reform that includes a path to full citizenship in our country. I've told you many times, I think, that I am the daughter of immigrants myself, and I certainly want to see that happen for all. So the other thing I wanted to tell you about, many of them I've been talking to you for a long time, about the improvements that we're going to make in affordable health care, the historic, unprecedented improvement in affordable housing, that we're going to help families with child care and the and universal preschool, that we're going to spend $500 billion in addition to what we see in the infrastructure bill on climate change. We're finally going to make real steps to help the president achieve the goals of the United States, which are to reduce, beginning in half by 2030, carbon emissions in our country. So this is an enormous achievement. Getting this rule passed and getting the agreement, and now we know that all of the things that we have been talking about that are transformational for families, for workers, for small businesses, for our economy are actually going to happen. I want to thank the President of the United States, Joe Biden, actually personally helped to negotiate the final deal that ensures the passage of the Build Back Better bill. He got personally involved and coordinated with the Progressive Caucus to make sure that we would have not just the infrastructure bill, but also the Build Back Better bill. Thank you, Joe. And I will see you next week. Thanks. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.